Welcome to a slightly windy Dubai desert today. Apologies for the sound, it's going to be a little bit windy. We are of course here with the Toyota Prius. This is the car that will save the planet. Well, it could do, but actually it's down to you. It'll save the planet if you want to buy it. Do you want to buy it? Well, it's very fuel efficient. You can save up to 15% fuel or even more with these cars. I've been running around for the last few days. I've been getting between 4.9 and 5.5 litre per 100 kilometer range in this car. That's actually very, very good. But you're thinking, fuel is cheap, you don't really care, well, you should, because fuel is eventually going to run out and it won't stay cheap forever. More importantly than that is the carbon footprint. These cars are all about saving carbon footprint. The emissions on this car compared to a regular car is 55% less on this car. Now, again, you're like, why do I care? It's stuff that I can't see. Well, you should care because it affects your health and it'll affect your children's health and, it causes pollution. But anyway, that's by the by. What you're probably thinking is, look at it. And you're going, what's with all these lines and all this sort of stuff? Well, I gotta admit, the looks can be challenging. Personally, I don't mind them. I think it looks quite smart. I think it's got a standout look about it. It looks quite futuristic. Yeah, there is a ton of stuff going on here at the front. There are a lot of lines, a lot of cuts, a lot of sharp lines, and this is all swept back, so you've got all these lines that come back, and you could argue that that's because of aerodynamics, because a car like this needs to be very, very efficient, because this car is all about efficiency. It tries to save fuel, it tries to save energy in any way it can, from the low resistance tires to the aerodynamic body shell. But then you have this sort of thing here, and then suddenly you've got this semicircle flat plate on here, which is kind of weird. It's got a slightly frumpy side. I don't think this cladding really helps it. But again, it's got a raked shape about it, so it's quite angular, it's quite nice. I think the rear actually is the best resolved aspect of the car visually, I think so, especially as it has that sort of third light rear and the tailgate. And talking of that, let's start with our usual. Let's go check out the boot first and see what we think of that. So you see what I mean about this extra window here, which from the interior, when you're looking through your rear view mirror, it does kind of divide your rear view a little bit, but actually this gives you a little bit more of a visual idea of what's going on behind you. I think it looks quite smart. This, of course, is the iconic version, which is the top level version of, there's two trim levels, and if I didn't give you the prices, it's $89,900 is your entry level price for the Toyota Prius, and that's pretty well equipped. And then this one is $97,900. This is the iconic trim. It gets the leather upholstery and the heads-up display. How is the boot space? Well, actually, not bad at all. You can have a look. It's pretty long, and the only issue I would say with this is that it's got a very high floor, and that is, of course, because they have the battery pack underneath there. So you also get the split folding seats, but as you can see, they don't fold all the way flat down as a normal car would. They sort of flush with this, but they don't go as low as a normal car would. But, relatively usable, so much better than before. Underneath here, you have a full-size spare wheel and a few cubby boxes to store stuff. In here, you also have a light, and there's a hook on this side and a hook on this side, as well as your tonneau cover there. So, yeah, all good. Time to get into the back. Okay, well, this seat obviously is set for me, and of course I'm 6'1", 6'2" tall, so fairly lanky, but no issues whatsoever. Plenty of leg room, decent room for my feet as well. Headroom, yeah, it's just brushing the top of my hair, but not too bad at all. Lots of space this way. There's a sort of cup holder arrangement in the door pocket here. There's a 12-volt power supply here as well. And you've got two cup holders in the central armrest. Other than that, you don't really get much back here, but although it's quite nice. This light colored leather, I think, is going to get dirty pretty quickly, especially if you've got children. But otherwise, it's a very nice, airy, spacious place to be. Let's get into the front. Here we are inside the Prius. Check this out. This is, very, very futuristic in here. Look at this. Can you hold that and film that? Now, I have got nothing in front of me here, but I do have a starter button. So foot on the brake. Let's start it up and hear the engine roar. There's no sound, but we do have like lots of graphics and stuff coming up there. Lots of cool stuff happening. interestingly, still has the traditional Toyota digital clock, but everything else is unique. Everything else is unique here as well. This is very nice. This is very white, matches the interior trim, which I think really is going to get dirty very quickly. And this, being in white, it looks like it belongs in the bathroom, honestly speaking. So maybe it should be in a darker color or something. And this is quite nice, this sort of glowing blue stick here. This is the gear lever. We'll talk about that in a bit more. So no dials in front of me. All the dials are up here. Display is here. I do have a heads-up display in this range-topping car. I have a load of controls here that controls this. So trip button here, for example, tells me what I'm doing trip-wise. So I've got 295 kilometer range on less than a half tank. This car has done 19 kilometers an hour. Average over that period has been 5.1 liters. The time I've had it, I've done 5.3 liters per 100. Over in this screen here, if you look at that, this is where you can choose various things, compass, your radio, all your information, including the aircon. So you can set it for front seats only. So again, it's all about efficiency and making use of the energy. It's got lane assist and all that. So it's got 7 airbags and lots of safety stuff. That's all par for the course for this sort of car. But more interestingly, of course, it's got the let's have a look at the settings, and this is where it tells you your fuel consumption record, your drive monitor stuff, how you've been doing, gives you a diary, it tells you whether it was using the engine or using the motor, whatever, and it gives you a score as well. We'll come back to that one. Down over here, we've got a big old touch screen here. This is your infotainment system, your information system. Go into menu, you've got navigation, audio, phone, and you've got your eco, and your eco tells you again how you're using the battery, the engine, and once we're on the move, you'll be able to see how that works, and in fact I'll leave it on there. This of course has Bluetooth and all the rest of it, JBL sound system, which I think is actually stupendous. I've been trying it earlier and it's actually really good. Down here, like I said, we've got EV mode, that's for pure battery drive, and if you just want to drive on EV mode, you can do that, but that only works up to a certain speed, and unless if you accelerate too much, if you're above a certain speed, it will switch over to engine again. So really it doesn't work that much unless you're in a car park or in traffic. You can go drive mode, which over here shows you've got power mode, which gives you a little bit more power, a little bit more aggressive acceleration, gives you eco mode, which makes things a bit more sluggish but is maximum efficiency, and you've got normal mode. So we go into normal mode. This is the gear lever here. The way you operate that is you go left and you go up for reverse, or where it goes bing 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 like a van for some reason, or you can't hear that on the outside, or you go down for 3. Right, so got that on. Let's move off, and as we're moving off, you can now see on this screen here, you can see how it's doing what it does and how it's changing between one or the other. There's the engine, there's the battery, and you can start to get obsessive about this, or looking over here and seeing, oh, am I using the battery, am I using the engine, and start to get very conscious about how you're driving. In fact, over here up on this screen, it actually gives you a score. It's not showing at the moment because we've just started, but once you've been going for a while, it gives you a score of how you're driving. You got 91 out of 100 as I've just lifted off there. So it's measuring your acceleration, it's measuring your efficiency and all the rest of it. So that's pretty much what we have to tell you. There's a power supply, USBs down here in this center console, cup holders, cubby box, all the usual stuff. The seating position for me is a little bit awkward. I don't know how you found it, Imthishan, when you drove it, but for example, I've been struggling with this because it's either, I like to sit upright, but this is either too upright or too laid back. I can't quite get that middle bit, It
would be nice if you had an infinite adjust instead of a ratcheting system.
Yeah, because that's the problem. I just need that bit in the middle,
Yeah.
And that's where I've been struggling. But
that's why European cars typically have these systems and Japanese cars don't.
Yeah, but legroom is great, headroom is great, seating position is good, ergonomics is not bad at all. And you might think that that's a bit awkward not having it in front of you but having it to the right, but actually, it hasn't proven to be an issue at all. The road here, they're going to hear some road noise because there's a lot of sand on the road. It's been, like I said, it's a very blustery day.
We're off-roading in a Prius.
We are essentially kind of off-roading because half of the desert is on the tarmac right now. But that it brings up an interesting point, because I know that you do get a lot of road roll from these tires. You know your tires. What's the deal with these tires? Because generally the car is pretty quiet and refined. But
so a low rolling resistance tire means effectively that it presents less surface area to the road. It's a bit like if you pump up the air in your tires to the max, you get better fuel economy, you present less of a patch. So the idea is the car does not actually fight the road so much. However, to do that, you need different materials, different carcass construction, and long story short, you maximize your eco, but you minimize unfortunately, your sound insulation. So you can get tires that are much quieter, last a bit longer, but then these tires are a bit softer, a bit more eco-friendly, and you're going to have more noise. You're going to have more vibration. You're going to have more harshness. That's how you, if you want to maximize your Prius, that's what happens.
But aside from that, I mean, they're fairly grippy. Now, we're coming up to a corner, and we've tried this car around a few roundabouts and stuff, and actually, you know, it's not too bad, you know. I mean, a little bit of understeer, just as you would expect. It's a heavier car because, of course, it's got the battery pack, but it negotiates corners pretty well, and there's plenty of grip from those low-resistance tires. The steering is actually, you drove it as well. What did you think of the steering? I thought it was pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. It's far better than it needed to be.
Yeah.
So it has a genuine sense of feedback and genuine sense of, you know, you are in control. And a car that you're in control of is you more confident when you want it on a corner.
And actually, even power-wise, people think, oh, it's a hybrid, it's very sluggish, but particularly when you put it into the power mode, it's actually not bad at all, you know, and it keeps up with traffic very well.
It's not a slug.
It's not. I mean, let me just get through this corner here, and is it in power mode? Let's put it into power mode, and we'll just give you a little burst of acceleration. Not exactly a burst, but there you go.
Burst is a strong word.
That's a strong word. But you know, we picked up speed very, very quickly. We're doing a decent speed already.
For people coming out of Corollas and Yaris's, it's about the same sort of power level, a 2-liter Corolla.
Yeah.
So you're not going to feel like this car's a penalty box, and buying a hybrid has made you the world's slowest driver.
No, so
you can choose to drive it like that.
You can. But also the thing is, like where we're driving right now, this is not really ideal hybrid country. Ideally,
it's a bit hot, it's a bit dusty, there's not much airflow happening right now.
But also in the city it performs so much better, because I noticed my fuel economy goes down in traffic, in stop-start traffic, because it uses EV. Out here, it's not going to use electric mode so much, because it's using the help of the engine to keep it going under these conditions. But where you're going slowly, it does use the EV mode. You can, like I said, switch it to EV mode in slower speeds, but it's best to just leave it on automatic because it will switch back anyway. Overall then, good braking, good driving, remarkably good handling, decently sporty. I do like this interior. One thing, this thing here, I will just show you this. So you're now looking at the scoring there, which is quite cool. Now a lot of people like looking at this lever, and what is this B sign? Now a lot of people think that means you put that into B, and you think it goes into battery mode. No, that's not actually correct. It doesn't do that. That's actually engine braking. So that's like, for example, in a normal automatic, you would have a low gear, an L or a 2 position. That's what that is. And really, that only is useful for when you're in an area where you have a lot of inclines, a lot of slopes, and you want to just use that to slow down, to use engine braking to slow it down. Otherwise, it actually decreases the efficiency. So the best thing to do is to just leave it in drive where it is at its best. So as you can see over there, you're seeing the scoring, and it is looking at your driving style, it is looking at how much fuel you're using, and it is scoring you appropriately. So all around then, I think actually it drives like a normal car, feels like a normal car, very comfortable, very practical. I like it. What do you reckon?
I think it's for all the hype about Prius for all these years, and people have been really afraid of it and think this is the death of car, it actually isn't. It just drives like a normal car, and Toyota made a fairly well sorted Prius that's almost engaging to drive, and far better than it needed to be. Because a lot of hybrids we've driven have been very dull, and they really wear their eco credentials on their sleeve, and they kind of stop being cars and start being statements. But this car, on the other hand, is just a decent car to drive, and if you buy it, you don't lose out by buying a hybrid. You just gain fuel efficiency, and I don't see the problem.
And a smaller carbon footprint. But you do pay a little bit more. I mean, this isn't a cheap car, but actually it's very well equipped though.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff on this car like the heads-up display. You don't get that on any other Toyota at this price.
That's right.
You can get a Camry, you can get a Land Cruiser, you won't get the heads-up display.
No, exactly.
So there are elements of this car that are not available in other cars that, you know what, you're paying the price premium, but you get the equipment.
You do. You don't feel like you've been cheated in this car. There's no cheapness about this car. It does feel pretty good.
Yeah.
So overall, a thumbs up for us. I think it's definitely a worthy car to look at, to buy, to run, and it will save the planet if you guys choose to adapt to this car. So more as ever on motoringmv.com, and of course check us out on all the social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course on YouTube. They just search for Motoring Middle East and you'll find us. If you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe. I'm Shahzad Sheikh. This is Imthishan Giado from us. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one. This is a sound check for review on Toyota Prius. Where is this line from? I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.